Today, we're going to make an alarm so your room will never be invaded again, and no one will open your drawers. This little beauty here is made with Arduino and some Arduino components. So, what's special about this project is that once you learn how to make this alarm, you'll be able to customize and configure it to make alarms in many different ways. It can work in two ways: a sensor for when you open a window, a door, or a drawer, or a distance sensor that detects when someone or something gets close. This project is already on our website, Manual Maker. Our team has already put it there. So I'm going to follow the instructions from Manual Maker to do the project. I'm not going to get into technical details. You can find those on the website. For reference, the main component is an Arduino board, specifically an Arduino Uno, a distance sensor, and a reed switch, which is a magnet sensor. It detects when there's a magnet nearby. So the first thing I'm going to do is prepare some wires so these sensors can be far from the Arduino. This way, I can install the sensor wherever I want, and the Arduino can communicate with it. I'm going to break off the first tip of this pin header, and then tin the ends of the wires. That means I'm going to melt a little bit of solder on the tip of each wire. That way, it's much easier for me to solder onto the boards. I'm going to solder 4 wires here on the ultrasonic sensor, the distance sensor, and 3 wires on the reed switch sensor. The plan is to make an extension by soldering pins on one end. Proper insulation at the end is crucial, and I'm also putting a bit of heat shrink tubing here to organize these cables so they don't end up all tangled up. Look how cool. What we have now is a kind of extension for the sensor. Its wire is about 1 meter long, and on the other end, we have exactly the same pins that were on the original sensor. One thing I did, different from what's on the website, is that I soldered the wires directly to the sensor here. That's faster. But the downside is that I'll need to remove the solder to reuse this sensor. I could have done what the website suggests, or other pins here, and then I connect these pins to the sensor's pins using a jumper, which is this little cable here that can connect one pin to another. I'll now follow the circuit shown on the website. I noticed there's an LED that I missed at the start of the video. The full list of components is available there. One important thing about LEDs is to test the LED before you start working with it, because every now and then there's a burnout LED here that, after we've assembled everything, doesn't work. This multimeter has a LED test here. You can put it on this terminal. It's lighting up. So let's start getting ready. You're doing all these things, and you're not explaining to us how you're connecting a wire to things and how we're supposed to understand. I'm following the wiring diagram that's on the website. It's kind of like a connect the dots. There. You have to connect the positive of a part to port 2 on the Arduino. Connect the negative of the other part to ground on the Arduino. It's straightforward. If you're unsure about soldering, we've made a video explaining how to do it. If you want to learn how electronic components work, we made a video just about that. It has the info you need to get started and build this. Check out how I'm connecting these extensions to the Arduino using a male to female jumper cable. It has a metal tip on one side and a connector or terminal on the other for fitting the metal tip. So I'm going to use it here on this extension. I connect the female part here. Next, I check the diagram to see where to connect this on the Arduino. In this case, it's on the 5 volts, and so on. Jansen filming, he was asking me if this is basically a beginner Arduino project, since following the website instructions, buying components, and assembling it is straightforward, because you won't have to invent anything. For someone new to Arduino, the hardest part is making initial connections and realizing, for example, that the Arduino only has 3 ground outputs in the circuit, which may not be enough. So at some point I have to strip a wire there and connect the ground to another wire because the Arduino doesn't have enough ports for all the grounds I'm going to use. But that's it. If you follow the Manual Maker website as if it were a recipe, can this be your first project with Arduino? Yes. The hardware is basically this. There's a distance sensor, a magnet sensor, a buzzer makes sound, an LED shows the alarm is active, and a button arms or disarms it. It's that simple. So let's upload the code to the Arduino. Now is a good time to check if everything is properly insulated, no wires are touching, and there are no issues. Short-circuiting the Arduino, like connecting positive to negative, could cause problems. I could burn the board because while it's turned off, it's okay to do that. But the moment I connect it to the computer, it's going to turn on. So let's put the code inside the little guy. Fill Arduino's head with information here. The code is here in Tinkercad. This project was uploaded to Tinkercad. You just need to copy the code. Remember, there are 3 different options for this alarm. One option is just with the magnet sensor, which will work for opening and closing the window, and so on. Another is just with the distance sensor. There's also a third option I created that uses both sensors simultaneously. I'm copying this version here, then pasting it into the Arduino Integrated Development Environment, which is a free program. And then the only thing I have to change is a variable, which is a little value that tells from what distance I trigger the sensor, because how close does something have to get to the sensor to trigger the alarm? I'm going to leave it at the default value that's here, 20. Let's see what happens. Let's upload this to see if everything is working. Let's upload the code here. I want to hear the sound. Yeah. How does this electronic device we just put together work? I have a button that activates the alarm. Okay, it arms the alarm. So, the moment I press it, will let me know that it's arming. That's when you need to leave the room, close the drawer, window, etc. Any alarm at home or work works this way. It gives you time to leave, so I'll press it now. Look. It beeps 3 times to give me this warning. Look, you have this time to leave. We can adjust this time in the code. Oops, it went off right after. That wasn't supposed to happen. Wait, I think I changed the wrong part of the code. I press the button 3 times, and it stops firing. Now it's working. Look, he's getting ready. Now the alarm is set. It's dangerous. Here it could go off at any moment. How is it going to go off? Why is it going to go off? If I put anything less than 30 centimeters from the distance sensor here, it's going to go off because 30 centimeters is what I set it to. See, when I put my hand on top, it doesn't turn off. So, if you want to put it near an object, near something you have, you can set it to a short distance. But if I bring my hand closer, the little guy goes off. Now, I press it 3 times, and it stops. It's cool to have this way to disarm it, where you have to press the button 3 times because other people don't know about it. So the alarm will go off and they won't know how to make it stop. I'll activate it again and show the other sensor how it works. So it's armed here. Look how cool, now it's ready to go off. See, this little green light means the sensor detects that the magnet is close. So let's suppose you put this part here on your door frame and the magnet on the door itself. You adjust the position so the green light stays on. Okay. When the door opens, one part moves away and it detects the magnet is missing, triggering the alarm. It's not sounding yet because I haven't activated it. Let's see if it works in practice. So I'm going to activate it. The sensor is detecting the magnet there. Do you see the green light? When I take it away. Yes, everything is working. But how are we going to use this thing in practice? Am I going to take all of this over to my door, my window, my drawer? No. First thing, how is this thing going to be powered? You can use a 9-volt battery. The Arduino accepts from 5 to 12 volts, so it can run on a battery. We don't like that here, because the 9-volt battery is expensive. Instead, we'll use a 12-volt Arduino power supply and connect it. That will work in a real situation. This is more annoying, because someone might find the power supply and unplug it. Or, if the power goes out, the alarm stops. But for teaching purposes, it works well. The second thing is this mess of wires. It's all very messy. So what did we do? We put a medium density fiberboard box for download on Manual Maker, so you can assemble this around it. You need to laser cut this box from medium density fiberboard. If you don't have access to a laser cutter, you can make a similar cardboard box like the one we're about to make. Check this out. We have a central box, which is the alarm control unit, and one more for each sensor. When you put everything in the boxes, you'll probably need to disconnect something to run the wire through. In this case, you test it again before closing the box completely. Closed. I mean, did you close the box or did you finish? Deal. Now we have a proper alarm. Look, everything is inside the box, protected, with no wires that could cause a short if you touch them. Let's install this somewhere. Wait a second. One important thing. No, I'll use both alarm sensors at once. You might suggest calling it a multi-purpose alarm, but that's not what I want. I want to use one sensor at a time. What do I need to do? I need to change the code to stop reading from that sensor. Where should I cancel it? See, right here it checks if the distance sensor is detecting something and triggers the alarm. This is where it triggers the alarm. So if I put 2 slashes here before for Arduino, it means it's ignoring that command. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore the command to turn on the alarm when something gets close. Only the magnet alarm will work. If I want to cancel the magnet alarm and only have the distance alarm work, here, I do the opposite. I take the 2 slashes from that line and place them here on the magnet alarm. This makes the sensor keep working. It reads the sensor data, but when it's time to trigger the alarm, it doesn't trigger. It simply does nothing. I canceled it. Now with the distance sensor, let's just test the magnet sensor first. I want to install the alarm on this drawer here. When I open the drawer, the alarm goes off. The alarm control unit can be placed anywhere the wire reaches, even far from the drawer. It's already powered, so the Arduino is on. I'm not going to use this sensor for now, so I'll keep it hidden there as well. I'm only going to use the small sensor, which is the magnet sensor. I'll attach the neodymium magnet inside the drawer. It's a strong super magnet. A weaker one would have a shorter range. The great thing about placing it in the drawer is that it's hidden, yet its magnetic field still reaches the sensor outside. When I move the sensor here, it detects the magnet at a certain point, shown by the light inside, getting brighter as another LED turns on. Then, when I reach that point, I fix it to the wall. We have an alarm installed. Look, he's setting it up. Let's see. He set it up. We have an alarm drawer. If the alarm goes off when I pull this, that deserves a thumbs up on the video, right? This alarm won't stop until I press the button 3 times. A really cool thing you can do is remove a wire, just like there's this wire here for the button. So instead of connecting the button to the box, you pull the wire and bring it to some secret place, somewhere no one will see. I'm not sure, maybe on the side or top. Only you can deactivate this alarm unless someone knows the button's secret location. Let's test it now with the distance alarm. Okay? Here. In this line of code, I set the distance at which I want it to trigger. In this case, I'm going to set it to 50 centimeters. If someone gets within 50 centimeters of this sensor, it will trigger. There, I turn off the magnet alarm, turn the distance alarm back on, and upload the code to the Arduino in the other line. In this case here, I want to protect my perfect balls. So I'm going to place the sensor here in the middle of the balls. The alarm is distant and will go off if anyone comes within 50 centimeters. This sensor works well up to a few meters away. I guess it will work well up to about 4 or 5 meters. After that, it will lose accuracy. It's not very precise, unlike a measuring tape, but it's great for this distance. You can use it as a presence sensor in the room. So, if I set it to 4 meters, even though the room is 4.5 meters wide, I'll use 4 meters here. Anything that passes in front of it will automatically trigger it. It's not only for triggering when you approach an object. You can set up a protection line that triggers when anything crosses it. Alarm triggered. If I come, look right here in front, it doesn't catch me. I set it to 50 centimeters. I'm getting closer. If you haven't given a like yet, this is the moment. You can use this distance sensor logic in a hallway, for example. So I'm going to put the sensor here and arm it. Will it go off with me? It worked. On the door, the logic is the same as the drawer. I install the sensor here on the door frame. I bring the magnet Find where the light brightens and attach the magnet there. I'm going to arm the alarm. And as soon as I open the door, in this alarm's programming, closing the door doesn't stop it. The alarm keeps sounding until you press the button 3 times. Otherwise, it won't stop. In the end, this is a super simple little project. But what I think is really cool about it is that we added a buzzer. Since the alarm sound is very weak, it's not really effective even if you want an alarm for your house. But we're talking about Arduino. You can swap this buzzer for several other modules. For example, you can add a relay, and with that relay, you can turn on anything you want. Turn a lamp on or off and activate a loud alarm siren. Or you can connect a module that sends you a short message service when someone enters or approaches anything you choose. Or you can put an MP3 module here and make it play a sound like, "Get out of my house. I know you're there. Get lost. I can see you." Anyway, the cool thing about Arduino is that the possibilities are endless, and I think this is a really nice start. In this project, we assumed that you already had some familiarity with Arduino. But if you've never heard of this little device, if this is your first time seeing it, check out this video we're recommending here, which explains Arduino from scratch and what it's used for, what this small board looks like and what components go on it, etc.